All right, I'm live with 52 weeks of Rust, and I'm going to dive into Rust packages, which is something that I am not really that good at, and I'm going to try to get a little bit better. So let's dive right into it, and I'm going to go to my Rust repo here, and here we go. Got Rust cooking, and if I look at this environment, let's just double check I've got it all set up the way I want. I go to code spaces. I haven't set up pre-build. So let's double check why I haven't done that. Oh yeah, I haven't customized this environment for Rust. Maybe I should do that. Maybe that's actually a good idea. So I'm gonna launch this thing real quick, and I'm gonna customize this environment for Rust because I think it's a good idea, and it will help me going forward to do that. Um, so let's let this thing launch real quick. I'm actually curious about Rust with GPU as well, but first let's see with Rust in general what we get here when I launch this up. In fact, I could look at Rust documentation for code spaces. Let's just look at Rust code spaces. There we go. I think I was looking at this earlier, actually. GitHub code spaces Rust dev container. We have a dev container here, which has some stuff, including Z shell, which I actually prefer Z shell to bash. And let's look at the Docker file. There we go. We have cargo installed right there. And this is from a couple years ago, though, so I don't know. But it's definitely taken a while to start. And there we go. So here's my environment. I think what I can do is let's see if I can get a Rust environment. So I'm going to do this, which is customize or dev container. So configure dev container features or add. Let's add these files. Rust. That's what I want. Rust and Postgres. Do I want both? Sure, let's do that. Let's see, and we can just pick this out. Now, do I want anything else in my Rust environment with me? Probably Docker, I think. And do I want anything else? Probably. Do I want Python and Rust together? I don't think so. I think I only really, for now, care about Docker and Rust, and that's it. I don't think. I mean, maybe AWS CLI, but let's just do Docker and Rust, and let's just do that. Okay, great. We've noticed a change. Now, if we look at all the different things we've got here, we can see this stuff, and sure, let's rebuild. So the idea here in using these dev containers is that I can then reproduce this environment if I wanted to share it with other people that I'm working with. So that's why I wanted to get the dev container set up for Rust. So let's go ahead and get that cooking. Uh-oh. So it is interesting that even though I'm using the default image, it had a problem. So let's try it again here. Why is it having a problem? Code space. Maybe because the Docker stuff is too complex for it, and I'm using Postgres. Do I really care about all that? Maybe it's too complex. Maybe I just delete this. Or I just rebuild. Let's try to rebuild it. Um, rebuild code space. Let's see if this works. Yeah, so the fact that it's having problems means that I would say the best thing for me to do would be to delete it and keep a simpler Rust dev container. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna delete Docker file. So I'm gonna delete the Docker file. Oh no, I'm gonna rm-rf a dev container. So let's nuke that. Okay, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna I'm gonna make a new one. I'm gonna say let's just do Rust, the default, and that's it. Let's keep it simple. Now let's rebuild it. So this is definitely weird. Unable to rebuild the container. I'm not sure why this is having problems with Rust. Okay, dev container, blah, 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 blah. The code space is currently running recovery mode. Yeah, now it would be nice to know why this particular container has problems. Um, rebuild. Let's try one more time. Rebuild it. Maybe the third time is the charm. At least it's taking longer this time. So if this is the case, that it's going to work, that's good. See this, the hiding log, showing log, this shows each step. Oh, okay. So the default code spaces process appears to be working. So what I would do next then would be that I'm going to add whatever extensions I care about. So look, we can see here, look at it, installed this debugger, installed crates, which is pretty cool, and these other kind of Rust handy tools. But I'm also want to install the Copilot, um, which is now one of my favorite tools. I'm going to do Copilot nightly, and I also want to do Copilot Labs here. There we go. Okay, good. So I got this set up, and then what I can do as well is I can say add to dev container JSON. So if I go to all of the things that I've installed, add to it, we can look at the dev container and we can see what things I've got installed in here. There we go. Copilot Nightly, Copilot Labs. This is great. This is exactly what I wanted to get working with Rust. And so now if I do get status, I do have a lot of garbage in here, which all this stuff, I wish there was a clean way to nuke this. I guess I could just do it one step at a time. So I could say rm-rf that, rm-rf. This shows my incompetence as a Rust developer, but there's probably some really easy way to not make messes like this. rm-rf this, or care about debug actually, like that. Get status. It's good. If I say get, I'm almost positive that I don't want to check in cargo. Right? What's in there? Cargo. Oh, a 2ml? Maybe. What does that do? Cargo. So let's say cat cargo 2ml. I don't know why there's one at the top level, but for now, if I say get status here, get get rm-rf maybe. This stuff is all stuff I don't care about. 7 million. There you go. Get status. Get rm-rf. This stuff. Get status. So this is the problem of making a mess. Is later you eventually have to clean up your mess. Get status. Get rm. So the rm will nuke it from, at least from, not permanently, but from the history, but at least from having to look at it anymore. And let's say this stuff, I mean, I don't know why I have to deal with it, but I'm just going to say get add.dev container, get commit, adding changes. So this is kind of a train wreck. I have all this debug stuff in there, but at least I'm getting closer to cleaning it up. So if I go back to the Rust stuff here in my repo, I should be able to clean this up a little bit here and go to the pre-build now, which is this. Setup pre-build. Go to this. And look, see, it's going to read that dev container file now, which is nice, which should get this thing running back and forth. So now that I've got that cooking, which is pretty nice, all I need to do now is do whatever I was going to do next. And so I would say probably the next thing to do would be to see if I could basically start this up from in the future from a Rust environment that was built by Codespaces. And look, we can see here that I think we have failed to run build scripts of some packages. Click the logs to reload. So we can even look at this. What does this mean? Rust analyzer. So it could just be have like too much garbage in my project here, and it's freaking out, which wouldn't surprise me. Again, because of so much junk I have here. So if I type in Rust hello, does that work? Rust C hello. That work? You can see it does. It was able to actually make it. The file is not supported. And now if I go in and I type in hello, see hello world. So that would be kind of a fun thing to figure out as well, as in how do you actually deal with the right structure of your project. I guess I could look at the official Rust documentation here, which is what I was planning to do. Look at the cargo stuff. So if we go here real quick and I look at the examples, it says as you write large programs, this becomes important, right? I've already seen this. I have basically a mess. And so the main things you have to care about would be the cargo features let you build, test, and share crates. And then the crates are a tree of modules that produce a library or executable. And then the module and use these lets you use things correctly. Okay, well, that's good. So what's the first thing I need to care about? Packages and crates. A crate is the smallest amount of code that Rust considers at a time. Even if you run Rust C rather than cargo, the compiler considers that file to be a crate. So crates can contain modules. Okay, so that's good to know. And I'll put a note to myself. I didn't know that. So under the README here, and I scroll this up here, and I put in like a crate. Crate is smallest container, which is good to know about. And library crates don't have a main function, and they don't compile to executable. Well, that's a good thing to note. Is I didn't know that, and we know that these, like, we can say like contain a main, right? Because that's that's the entry point to it. A crate root is a source file, and so a package is a bundle of one or more crates. Didn't know that. That's good to know. So a package is one or more crates. And a crate is actually a package that contains a binary crate for the blah, 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 blah. A package contains as many binary crates as you like, but at most only one library. So if you make a new project, you go through, you see the cargo file, and then the cargo describes how to build the crates. Okay, so these are the three things that we care about. There. And let's pull that out right here. There you go. And after we run cargo new, we use ls. Now we have a package. Okay, that's what I've been doing. So defining modules to control, you start from a crate root, you declare it. I see. So you could have multiple things inside. So you have submodules, all kinds of stuff. So here, let's look at an example. So we would have a backyard. So you have a garden with vegetables, and then you have a garden, and then you have a main. So in this case, the crates directory contains these three files. So okay, I like this example too. Can I just try this? That would be great to try this. So why don't I do this? Why don't I try I like this garden example because it's a simple example, and I think I can recreate it potentially. So I'm going to make one called called garden, right? So start up here, and I always forget the command here. This is what I want to do. I want to say make new project, but I want to name it garden. So go here, and we'll just do this. Let's just put the commands here. Cargo, and we'll call this garden. Now, start from the crate root. When compiling it, the compiler first looks there. You'll declare new modules, declare submodules. Once it's part of your crate, you can refer to it. What I'm unsure of is what goes into the cargo 2ML though, but maybe I don't care right now. I think this is what I need to care about. So I'm going to try to create this structure. So I'm going to say the crates directory, also named backyard. Source garden, crate garden, backyard. Oh no, we create a binary crate named backyard. So it's backyard. The crates directory also named backyard. Okay, so we want to call backyard. So we want to say new backyard. Backyard. Let's try that out. Cargo new backyard. Okay, now if we go into backyard, I see the source, but it's only got a main. But what are they wanting me to do here? Is we see the main, but we need to do a garden and then a garden directory. So let's say make dir backyard source garden directory. And then we also need to touch a file called backyard source garden dot rs, right? Is it rs? It's rs, garden dot rs. Okay. And then we also will create a backyard src garden vegetable rs. I think that's what we would do. Now, if I go into the source main, we can copy this. So here we go. Use crate garden vegetable asparagus. Publish module garden. Let plant. Okay. That makes sense. And then this tells the compiler to include the code it finds in garden.s.rs, which is file name garden. Here, the pubmod file name, you would just publish vegetables. That's it. Okay. So in the gardens, let's publish vegetables. Okay. Okay. I'm not sure I 100% understand this, but then here pubmod vegetables means the code in source garden vegetables included too, and that's this code. So let's put the vegetable code in. Okay. So now if I just say cargo run, what happens? First I have to cd into backyard. Cargo run. No asparagus in garden vegetables. No asparagus in garden vegetables. Asparagus. Huh. Well, I'm not smart enough to figure that one out, but that looks like something I need to study a little bit more about. So I'll put a note to myself that I need to dive into this a little bit more, that I don't have it 100% working. Just say like TVD, still not working. Dive into this more next time. There we go. All right. Good stopping spot for today. I'll go ahead and check this in. The one thing that sucks is I need to figure out how to get rid of these debug files, which would be amazing. So that is a bummer. But for now, I can just check in the README and add README, committed, adding changes. What's that?